Happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. What do you prefer to say? 4th of July, Independence Day? What do you use?
Because of my old age, 4th of July helps me know what day of the month it is. So I use that.
Track it out to Chris Griffin here in the Parx Racing Studio. It's out of the gate here with the HOF Handicapper Hall of Famer. One day I'm going to have that HOF tag in front of me. Right now I just have Instagram and Twitter tags, but that's okay. Hall of Fame handicapper Craig Donnelly. We're going to handicap a couple races. We're actually going to bring you something different this afternoon. We're going to talk about some of the stakes racing action that we've seen here at Parx so far. But happy 4th of July to the Hall of Famer. We're going to check back in with him in just a moment. But first, like we always do, let's take a look at the Parx Playback. Parx Playback time. Here we go. On Monday, she's back. Back at Parx, Sweet Wilhelmina. Crushing victory. Frankie Pennington aboard for trainer Scott Lake. Then it was upset time. The Method rolling down the stretch. Gerardo Milan and Trevor Gallimore teaming up for the victory. On Tuesday, Clemenza opening up the card. Dominating victory. Rides the rail, and Sylvester Gonzalez and trainer Kate DeMasi team up for the score. Abner Adorno and Penny Pierce are on fire. Derby House wins again at Parx. Dominating fashion on the Tuesday afternoon. Derby House must be best. Race 11, the 11th and final on Tuesday. Sakatumi and Madeline rolling down the turf course with style. Trainer William Dowling. Sakatumi wins, second time out. And on Wednesday, somersaults, tumbling, cartwheel. It was cartwheel and hot riding. Sylvester Gonzalez for trainer Silvino Ramirez with an easy win. Private Sector in the pink silks. Trainer Randy Allen teaming up with Edwin Rivera, and Private Sector gets the victory. Have a great week. Some of the winners from last week right here at Parx. There's the weekly wrap-up. You can take a look at the trainers and the jockeys that won race by race, and also the horses and their post positions, where they were placed and how they won those efforts. But can I ask the Hall of Fame handicapper real quick, Craig Donnelly, what do you think post position means at all right now during the meet so far?
I think that something you should always be looking to see if there's a track bias, to see what's favoring speed, closes. But what you don't want to do is, to me, is just automatically assume there is one, because some days it's just going to be that the way the race sets up, the closers are going to win, dominate. Other times, horses get loose on the lead, speed, and you can't say, oh, it's a speed horse's track. Sure. But one thing I do think you'll notice here, and that I'm a little hesitant to pick unless I really like the horse, horses that break out of the chute from the rail, 7 furlongs from the rail, invariably break last. It's amazing how often they break last. So when you break number 1 and say a 10 or 12 horse field, especially from the 7 furlong chute, you'd be amazed, because I call the charts. It's amazing how often that horse will break last after rush up to position. Might
be a key to keep an eye on in race number 2. Indirectly, he's going to have that 7 furlong trip as a favorite in there, and does draw the rail there coming out of the chute. So that's an interesting favorite maybe take a look at playing against there. I picked that horse on top, of course. That's going to be in today's second race, but we'll talk about that plenty. You think people are taking us seriously right now? They should take us seriously, even though it's a Cool Shirt Monday. That's my dog. That's not your horse, but that's a horse that's on your t-shirt. Right?
This isn't my horse? I thought it was.
No. All right, we wanted to try something a little bit different on today's episode. Wanted to take a look back at some of the stakes races that we've seen. Some really high-quality runners, especially the Pennsylvania breds. And the first race we're going to take a look at is a Paige McKinney handicap. This is kind of a recap, and also hearing from a handicapper that's been around here for quite some time and seeing some of these performances. Let's take a look at For the Love of Bourbon and the Paige McKinney handicap in this effort. Ends up beating Barron. What did you think of this effort on that afternoon?
I have to tell you, For the Love of Bourbon wins the race for Michael Pino. He has a tremendous amount of talent. But I have to say, what almost impressed me more, Barron is so game. He's not just fast and he got beat and he got beat at Penn National. He tries so hard and he's so fast. I mean, he battled all the way to the wire. You got to admire his tenacity.
Yeah, and you talk about his tenacity in the stretch run, but For the Love of Bourbon, you've watched this horse, and I've watched him quite a bit now too. Have you seen him in better form than he's in right now? It seems like he's almost, I don't want to say kind of at a career top, but he's really progressing. He's been very nice, especially. I think he's improved off of last year.
I don't doubt that, and even though I think he did have one race that was not true to his character, where he finished well out of the money. But another thing he's shown is it used to be seemed like pretty much he need to be in front win. He'll come from well off the pace if he has to. Now you can put him anywhere, and it doesn't hurt that he's got Kendrick Carmouche riding him all the time.
And you start thinking about, it's a long way away, but we start talking about Derby and Cotillion, start talking about the Gallant Bob. I mean, some of the sprinters that we take a look at, some of the PA breds, obviously running against those Pennsylvania breds, do you think we could see some of those horses end up on a card like that and possibly even end up in a race like the Gallopop?
Yeah, I think For Love of Bourbon's good enough, but what I will say is I think we saw one of the best sprinters in the last 50 years when last Jackie's Warrior. Yeah. He is an absolute freak. He won last year. You'll never see a horse win the Gallopop. Easier than that. Wrapped up from about the top of the stretch to the wire, and he came back through a dud in the Breeders' Cup, but come back into really good form again. He's just amazing.
Let's take a look at the fillies and the fillies and mares there that they were running in the Unique Bella Stakes and taking a look at this race. And Hey Mama Luke has got the lead at the top of the stretch. We're going to watch a race later on that just happened recently with her having the same type of scenario. But Cinnabunny up on the outside, but I think also the story has been Cal Lynch. Cal Lynch has been sending some runners out here. He's putting them at stakes races. You're going to see these Silks again running more racing, end up with another victory later on in the program. But Cinnabunny, I mean, how good was this effort? She's going to hold off a late rally here by a huge long shot. But what did you think of that effort there from Cinnabunny?
Well, she had to run down a loose pace setter, which, hey, Mama Luke's almost always going to be loose. She's so fast. But she showed determination to get her. Now, what you might say, she's somewhat vulnerable because she didn't draw off through the final eighth. She was almost getting caught by, I believe the horse was Butch Reed, like 30-1 shot.
90%
so
win?
You could say, well, she didn't beat a top field by much, and she was doing her best. But look, she fires almost every time. And another thing with Cal Lynch is winning with his 2-year-olds, his older horses, sprinting, going long, running on turf. I'm sure he could probably train steeplechase horses.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
now.
the horses have been really well met when he's been sending them here, so he's been hitting at a high percentage, so keep an eye on that barn. And you've caught him at some prices, too. It's not like it's just been chalk, chalk, chalk.
No, he has had some prices, and what you notice too is his 2-year-olds are winning everywhere. They're winning at Delaware, and a couple of them, I didn't know who the sire was. The sire was Army Mule, and I was like, who's Army Mule? Well, I looked him up. He retired 3 for 3. So he couldn't have been all bad, right? I don't know if he made $1 million or something. He went right off and bang, 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 and obviously had physical problems. But, I mean, that's how fast the horse he is, and he's getting good offspring.
We're going to take a look at some more stakes races coming up. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe on YouTube. What's going on back here on a Cool Shirt Monday? But we're going to race Monday and Tuesday, and Craig, Saturday, one more Saturday afternoon. It's actually our last added Saturday of the summer season. We're not going to race on Wednesday, July 6th. You can join us in the Picnic Grove. We got the live racing on Saturday, July 9th. And I'm kind of trying to guess what you would be involved in. The pony rides, the moon bounce, face painting. What does Craig Donnelly, what would you be all in on? The DJ possibly? Horseshoe decorating? Or
I actually have... my dancing ability has been questioned over the years, so what I will stick with is get my face painted, get on a pony, and do the moon bounce at the same time.
Whoa.
The pony will be bouncing, but you'll see my cavalry talents in action.
The TV crew just said we can make that happen if you want to make that happen.
Try and catch me.
Craig Donnelly, all of a sudden we can't find him. He's the invisible man here on Saturday.
It's hard to hide when you're old.
Talking about a jockey that hasn't been the invisible man, when you talk about the match series and talk about the turf stakes races that we saw, and seeing the match series back here at Parx and seeing the Mid-Atlantic region and the championship's going to culminate and end up right here, it's an exciting time and something exciting to be a part of. But we're going to take a look at the Chamonix and this effort here, High Opinion, talking about trainer Tony Dutrow and this big stretch run. Flavien Prat, you knew when he was coming in to ride in those $100,000 stakes races. The horse was well meant, but these were some nice stretch battles.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, one thing you get on turf, you'll generally see that a lot of tight finishes, and you'll also see the horses that are in the back of the pack, or even finishing 5th and 6th, are usually closer.
Okay.
They tend to be, you'll see a lot of times horses will finish 10th, beating 6 lengths in a turf race. You almost never see that on dirt. So they tend to be competitive races. People bet more. People like betting turf races, and I can understand that. I think, if anything, turf horses possibly tend to be a little more consistent and predictable.
I felt like you kind of got a gift of a price there in the second place run, or Tick, 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 Boom. Remember that horse, trainer Alan Bedard? That horse was flying up on the outside. Trevor McCarthy was aboard. You actually caught some value in that exacta because that horse was, what, 30 plus to 1?
That's a very nice horse, and what they done well with her, I think, is that you know, she doesn't run all winter on the dirt. They realize this is a grass horse. Let her be a grass horse. They give her the winter off. She comes back from hibernation, and she runs very well. And you wonder how she gets that name, Tick, 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 Boom, right?
Yeah.
She's by Hit It A-Bomb, right?
Got it.
So that's where the name comes from, and she does explode in the stretch.
Let's take a look at the Ben Salem, which was the other race that we had there, and this was for the boys. When you take a look at this race, that's actually, this is actually the race we just saw, the Neshaminy.
She will win again, by the way.
She will win again.
I like high opinion here again.
Not sure if we have the Ben Salem, but in the Ben Salem, you just flopped that exacta. I mean, you just flipped it, basically. McCarthy and Pratt, they did it again, but when you take a look at the Ben Salem in here in this effort, in Eons, this horse is going to come rolling up on the outside. You see this horse with a big, he got the jump almost, right? I mean, it looked like Trevor McCarthy just made the jump.
I thought he was going to get caught here.
Right.
I mean, he's getting horses gaining on the outside, but he really dug in. And Trevor, like his father, tremendous career, like his father, Michael McCarthy, and holds on. And another thing is, when you see Arnold Delacour as a trainer, his record on the turf is fantastic. I mean, you can almost look at a race, if you see his name on the turf race, just throw him in the exacta. You don't even have to look at the past performance, he'll be there.
When you take a look at those performances and you take a look at some of the horses in the match series, I mean, as we prepare for that, we handicap for it, we take a look, seeing some of those horses probably ending up back here for those championship type races, how much do you think having a race over the racetrack is going to help all of those runners in those spots?
I think in dirt races it can help, because every dirt track's different. You got horses, we have so much synthetic racing, and the fact that you come from a track that might be really fast and firm as the one that's a little deeper and cuppier. Turf is going to be similar in that, it's still grass. Some turf courses have more depth than others, but I think having a race over the track on the main track can be a positive. Also, you're training over that track. So a horse that's shipping and never trained on the track or run on it is at a slight disadvantage.
Let's check out another trainer interview here. A former jockey, now trainer. This is our time with Josue Arce. Trainer Josue Arce started as a jockey in his career.
I started in 2004, 2005. I started riding a Gulfstream. It's funny because I got nobody in my family is related on horse racing. None of them work with horses, but ever since I remember, I love horses, and I came to the track, and that was it.
Who did Josue Arce look up to in Puerto Rico as a young man?
Well, there's many. I used to look up to Javier Santiago, Hector Torres, a lot of them jockeys, Juan Carlos Diaz, and trainers. Pedro Salinas, Manuel Gomez, Pucho Maimó.
Josue Arce made the transition from a jockey to a trainer.
I always thought about training. Even when I was riding, I knew eventually when I quit I was going to be a trainer. So I quit riding, and then I started working as an exercise rider for Scott Lake, then I became a trainer. We got a pretty tight relationship, so I can ask any question. I learn a lot from him. I see him work, I see him around the barn, paying attention to little details, and how to work the condition book, and that helped me along the way a lot.
Does it help to work the horses himself in the morning?
I think it does. I like it that way. I like to get on them and feel how they're doing, their temperament, if they're sound, if they're off. I can tell right away. I don't have to wait on any other people's opinion.
Does trainer Josue Arce, being a former jockey, give many instructions in the paddock?
For the most part, I don't give instructions, but yeah, I remember when I was a jockey, and so I don't give much instruction, because when you go up there, things can change in a second, so yeah, I leave it up to them for the most part.
Early in his training career, Josue Arce is building a smaller stable with a bright future.
Not rushing into it. Right now, I have 12. I think that's a little more than I wanted in the beginning, but I like it. I like it because I got good help, good team around me, and when I was riding, I knew some people, and they helped me to get here. So far, it's just a small thing, but it's the greatest. We have a good environment, and right now I'm really happy how things are going, how horses are running, and how we keep it here. Like, horses are running good, we're happy, and I think it's showing.
Did Josue Arce get more sleep as a jockey or a trainer?
As a jockey, I got more sleep. Definitely. I love what I do. I think about it, and I should have quit a long time ago, because I'm more involved with the horses. You feel more part of it. You know, when you're jockey, it's great, but when you're trainer, you're here every day, 7 days a week, you know, you're more involved with the horses.
Is there a race that trainer Josue Arce wants to win? And is there advice for young trainers?
As a jockey, for some reason, I always thought about the Travers. And now that I'm here, maybe, you know, the PA Derby one day. Like, it has to be your passion. You have to do it for the love of horses. You know, the business and the money, it'll come, but you have to, you know, put the effort and love what you do, and everything else follows.
It always comes back to the love of the horse for trainer Josue Arce.
I just love it. It's just like, I just love to be around them, you know, make them feel happy. You know, they're so appreciated when you treat them well. You know, they're just happy, and, you know, it's just a love. It grew within. Like, since I was born, I loved the horses, and it's been that way ever since.
Thanks again to trainer Josue Arce for his time. Philly Big 5 carryover jackpot over $41,000. Somebody took down over $130,000 just recently, but the carryover jackpot bet, single ticket winner, as always, in the Philly Big 5. Going to take a look at a couple races in that sequence and Exit Right. What else can you say about this horse? I mean, this horse is going to be a big favorite. I'd be shocked if this is not your top choice.
It's hard not to make him top choice, but I don't like to make horses like this best bet, because I don't advocate people betting on 1 to 5 shots.
You think 1 to 5?
Well, with a scratch in there,
scratch, okay.
The only other horse that's going to get a lot of action is number 5, Scar. Exit Right is 6 for 7 this year. The only race he lost was a mile and 3/16. And he overcame a bad start in one of those races. So, I mean, it's a case where, well, what do you do with them? Well, you can use them in the gimmicks, you can use them exacto or pick 5, you know, but believe me, I don't suggest anybody bets on 2 to 5 to win. That's not going to work.
Going to be a short price favorite there in race number 8. Taking a look at race number 9, we go back to the same connections. But I do think with Flash and Dynamite, I think maybe a touch of value.
A touch of value should be a little better price, 7 to 2 on the program. One thing about her, she tries so hard. Look at her record. Parx is just amazing. I believe we've got 10 for 17. But it's a very good field. And that's what the price should be a little better. Precious is a stakes winner. Excellent Pennsylvania bred. Midnight Obsession won like a champ last time for John Service. You have to respect her. And Miss Michaela coming in from Florida. You know, she's got good form. Those horses have been very tough around here. Your horses shipping in from Kentucky and Florida.
We'll
tough
see.
meets.
Lone Speed all the way, I'm not quite sure. I like Flash and Dynamite as well. Let's take a look at a big win. It was the trainer's first career victory. Cesareo Marquez, they were the performance of the week. Congrats to the connections. Hey, we saw 2 more stakes races right here at Parx, and they were taken off the turf. Caught some wet weather, but let's take a look at Undercover Kitty first. When you take a look at the Crowd Pleaser Stakes in here, there's those silks again.
It is Cal Lynch again. And the funny thing is, Undercover Kitty is by Kitten's Joy, famous turf horse, famous turf sire. Obviously, Undercover Kitty does not have to be on the grass. That's wet dirt we're looking at, and wins like a champ. So, you know, he's a real nice horse. And once again, Cal Lynch isn't just winning, he's winning by daylight.
And speaking of champs, the champ was back in the Power by Far Stakes. And Hey Mama Luke, again, we're going to see her with the lead at the top of the stretch, but she gets run down in the stretch drive by the Pennsylvania bred horse of the year, Chubwagon.
You know, Hey Mama Luke ran tremendous, and you know, she drifts out, she always does that, this is her thing, but she really held on gamely, and she's losing to a horse, I believe Chubwagon's what, 11 for 12?
Yeah.
10 for 11, so you're losing to a horse that's tremendous. Obviously, Chubwagon was off the layoff, but Hey Mama Luke made her work, let's face it.
Yeah, Chubwagon, we'll see how she does return. She said the connection set maybe come back in a week or 2, so she'll be wheeling back pretty quick, and we'll see the winner's circle presentation here in just a moment. But just a tremendous filly to have here on the backside, and it's good to have Chubwagon, the champ, the queen, whatever you'd like to call her, the Pennsylvania bred horse of the year, right back here at Parx. We got one more stakes race coming up for you next week as well, the Dr. James Penny Memorial. Briefly talk about that Grade 3 on the turf, seeing the nominations. There are some nice horses nominated for that stake.
Well, when you put up $200,000 for a turf stake, you're going to get probably a full field and some very talented fillies. And I think what you're going to see is the shippers come clash with the best of the locals.
The show has run over. I don't know if it's my fault or the guy with the horse on his shirt's fault, but follow us on social media, all of our social media platforms, at Parx Racing, at In the Grandstand. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, on Instagram as well. Sorry, Craig, that we ran out of time for the history lesson that you were going to give us on this 4th of July. Enjoy your 4th of July, brother.
Thank you, and I will be delivering that history message at Harvard next week.
Sorry we ran over. We're back here next week on Out of the Gate.